Okay, we're going to call this special meeting to order at, I'll say 24. I'm expecting Mr. Marcinko to arrive anytime. Yeah, I turned it off because it was... Yeah, that's a bad one. It's me.
Yeah, just keep it at a distance.
Try it there. Okay. I'm going to just pass over the Pledge of Allegiance. We're late already. We'll seat Mr. Burr for Carl. Public participation, frankly, you're welcome to participate if you have business that's already on the agenda. Otherwise, we're really not doing anything else today because we don't have time. New business isn't any to speak of. We have two new applications for matters that were not on the regular agenda. We're just going to mark those up. We're going to mark those up for site visits because we can't do anything else with them. So that's application F 2006 and F 2013. We can't address those. Nobody's seen it. Okay, old business. We'll start with 203 Hollow Swamp Road. Do I have I have the right one? Yeah. Hollow Swamp Road. I don't know what's going on with that one. Who was there? Could give us a quick.
We were there, so Michael Loring and I were there this morning. That's yours, right?
Yes.
Okay. We looked at 4 or 5 trees, maybe a little bit more, including the brush that came across the brook behind their house. That's at the bottom of the hill, if you will, from Horse Fence Hill down to Hollow Swamp. They had some trees come down towards the house, and they're pretty close to hitting the house. So they're talking about getting those trees craned out and taken out, only because there's no access for any other kind of equipment to get back there. I didn't see any particular issues with the plan that they're talking about doing. So,
Is it posing a substantial threat to the house or something?
Yep.
Okay.
I would agree they need to be taken out.
So any particular issues they should address while they're doing it?
No, I mean the biggest thing, I think the stumps were going to be left in place.
Most likely.
Okay, yeah, so I can't imagine they're going to crane those out, and that would
Expensive.
keep your embankment
Intact.
and the wetland intact
Okay.
as much as it could.
Okay. On the basis of that, you guys have any questions?
No.
Let's,
Yes.
I'll move that we approve the application, subject to the stumps being left in place. If there's a need to take them out, please contact the office and we'll deal with that. Other than that, let's approve it and let them go. We'll need a
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you, you're done. You can go ahead and do what you need. Just keep the office advised, so we know what's going on. And if you have any issues, talk to Jordan, who is probably walked in right now. And he'll help you out.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Lee Farms.
Next one is 76 Lee Farm. I went there with Thad and Mike Loring yesterday. I don't even know what to say about this. The entire backyard's gone. The house sits about 20, 25 feet above the level of the stream, roughly. They did a temporary barrier with large rocks that were brought in. They brought in a bunch of fill to keep the house from literally falling down. And the issue is, can they do anything else? We recommended that additional fill be brought in to reduce the slope. The current slope is about 50 degrees. The soil is just barely hanging in on it. So to do anything else, they have major issues with septic, which of course, gentleman asked us about, we can't do anything about. So we referred him to public health. Yeah, go ahead, then.
I wanted to ask Jordan though, This house, being as old as it is, predates the current.
Yeah. That should do it.
Predates the current septic rules in terms of putting in a septic system. So my question is he then, I know it's steep, I know it needs to be shallowed out ways, but he could still put in the old system as long as he didn't vary from the way it was put in originally.
It's a question for the health department.
Excuse me?
Health department, and you guys are just concerned.
That's not something.
So that is a question for the health department. Any pre-existing rules that they have for their regulations is going to be determined by them. And all we're focused on is the wetlands aspect of this property. And things that were noted on site were stabilization and regrading of the slope, as well as installing some stone on the brook to give it a more natural interaction.
And keeping the brook is that they've got, the path they've got it going down now seems to be pretty good. So if they do what you just said, then I think it would work out pretty well.
I would agree, and more information is still to come. The work's been done
What's done is fine.
effectively, so I don't think there's any reason.
What's been done.
I don't think there's any reason for us to quickly react to issue a permit if you feel additional information is necessary. We have time under the auspice of the permit to generate that additional information.
Give them a temporary permit, a permit for the work that's been done, so they know that's approved. That will help. But I don't
Yeah, the legality of a temporary permit, I don't think we have the ability with our regulations.
need a temporary permit.
Okay.
I mean, an approval of what's been done, because it was done with no permit.
Right, but it's all under the same application. So why don't we just handle what's been done? Because everyone's done work. I don't know.
What's been done.
Right, but everyone's been given approval to go ahead and do emergency repairs, right? They've been given kind of a broad-reaching approval so long as they're in this process.
Right.
That work's been done. I've spoke with Roy myself, said essentially, don't stop working, but let's get permits in. So he's complied with that standard, so in a sense, he's okay to continue work. The work is effectively completed. Since we have them in the application process, and instead of having him submit a second application for simple stabilization, let's just keep.
We don't need that. But if he's gonna do any extensive revisions,
I said the work's been done. The only thing that we want at this point is stabilization and the items that we talked about. I can continue corresponding with Roy to make.
yeah, then I'll move to approve the permit as applied, subject to his keeping you advised of any deviations from current stabilization.
What are they using as fill?
Sorry,
What are they using as fill?
what are they?
What have they brought in for fill?
Oh, the 10 yards of soil? No, 10 truckloads of soil? This thing it's about 25 feet high, it's a 50-degree slope. It was basically completely cut back to the house, threatening the house to fall in. So we told him he could go ahead and fill that in to stabilize the slope, and he did that. The question is, where do you go from there? It needs further stabilization.
Yeah, the
If
soil
we got a
has to be
3-inch rain on it now, half of it would disappear again.
Right.
So Jordan's absolutely right. Go ahead, keep doing this, seed it, whatever you can do. There are some substantial issues, including cost and what's practical. And we just don't know what he's gonna be able to do with it. So we can approve what's been done, let him go ahead and keep stabilizing it.
Have we spoken to the applicant yet?
I'm sorry, what?
Have we spoken to the applicant yet?
No.
The applicant's here.
Oh, is he? Oh, please, come up. Sorry. My bad.
Yeah, Roy, if you just want to step up to the mic, state your name and address. If it's more comfortable for you there, I can bring the mic over, but
Yeah, I'm
just
sorry, I didn't recognize you.
provide any additional information that you may have gathered since our site visit, if you don't mind.
Okay, Roy Rogan, I live at 94 Lee Farm Drive.
Trying again, guys.
308 Jeremy Swamp. Remove trees. Log jam maybe?
All right, so
Debris.
Mr. Achenbach, he's been here, they had a permit a while ago, I don't know, several months ago. They had a tree come down on their wires, it started a house fire.
I know which one this is.
You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, I
So
do.
we met them out there on Monday, and we kind of looked at, where the water had gone and kind of changed the course of the brook and all the additional sediment that's been deposited down there, and there's some trees and whatnot they've marked out that they want to take out. I guess we're trying to, on that permit, we're trying to get some resolution on the planting plan as well as this application, so they're gonna submit a plan, I think we talked about, the planting plan, and then, so we can kind of wrap that up. Is that on the docket for today?
Yep, so I got confirmation from Cassandra Achenbach today about them moving forward with contracting a wetlands consultant to get this, there we go, to get a planting plan in place that this commission can approve to move them through the cease and correct order.
Okay, so we're
So
not,
we are having progress moving forward.
That's a
Neither was.
Slightly different matter, but
Neither
Yeah.
was able to attend the meeting today, but we're looking to get the planting plan in and quickly respond, and then hopefully following that will be a plan for any remediation improvements that they may or may not want to do to protect their property moving
is there
forward.
anything they need now?
I think he's asking, are we holding up the F2001 in lieu of that?
Absolutely. I mean, F2001 is removal of trees, debris. The main crux of their emergency is the sediment in the stream diverting towards the bank and reinforcing that bank to remove the opportunity for it to increase the soil erosion. That's the nature of their emergency, removing debris from the side of their
But
property.
we don't have a proposal on doing that.
That is correct.
Okay, so we can't do much with this.
That is correct. And also, I wouldn't recommend you moving forward with issuing an emergency application from the flood damage side of things until you've received a planting plan that conforms with.
Yeah, we need a
That's-
plan to direct this. None of it's an imminent threat to the property, to the house, so let's just pass on that one. We aren't
Okay.
going to approve it.
Tabled?
Tabled. Application F 2002, 268 Jeremy Swamp Road. Ms. Skorupski,
Yep.
I believe.
Pam?
Anyone here on this one?
No, she's not here.
Okay.
So we went out and looked at 268 Jeremy Swamp Road, their driveway culvert, and the work is already done, and I believe that's the permanent fix there, if I gather that right. There's definitely some questions we had. I don't know if you had any more correspondence from their contractor, Jordan, or not, but we had no water going through the culvert when we got there. It may be sitting on bedrock, and it's a concrete culvert, maybe sitting on the bedrock, and the water is just so little now that it's not going through the culvert.
That could be.
That being said, you know, Carl raised the matter of the fisheries and the sort of the habitat there. If it's not passing water through the culvert, nothing else can obviously pass through.
Right.
You know, stone bedding for the culvert itself, so. So there's that. There was also another couple places where there, you know, the embankment immediately adjacent to the crossing was kind of undercut, and they didn't put any riprap or anything under there. There were some trees that were, you know, I don't know how big a storm it's gonna take, but might bring the trees down and cause another issue. So there was some questions as to those items. But as far as the emergency repair is concerned, they have access to their house, they can get back and forth across the driveway.
So they need an application for the additional work?
And I'm not really sure that she's looking to do any additional work.
Is it the kind of thing we should basically tell them they need to do?
I thought we agreed on the tree that was in that bend in the river just before the culvert, on the opposite side.
Yeah, the one that's
there.
undermined there.
Undermined there.
I mean, in my opinion, it should be taken down before it does damage to the crossing, and armored, or put some rocks up against it, you know, riprap, just like they did at several other places. Do I want to force her to do that? I'm not really sure if that's the right thing to do, but it seems like it would be in her best interest to do that.
Well, we can't really force them to do that.
No, and that's what I'm saying. I think, you know, for a temporary repair, that is definitely acceptable. And probably when they did the repair, there was water flowing through the culvert. Now that it's so much less, and it's been dry for 2 weeks, there's not, so.
So suggesting we okay the permit and let
Yep.
them go ahead and,
So I just want to step in. I have a correspondence from Ken Ciola of Ciola Excavation LLC. This is from September 16th. Jordan, we made emergency repairs at 268 Jeremy Swamp Road on the culvert for the driveway crossing. It is my understanding you have concerns about the height of the trap rock that the 42-inch culvert pipe is sitting on. We needed to use the trap rock to work in the flowing river. The height of the culverts were set to the current flow. When the slit eventually builds in the trap rock, the river will then flow through the pipes.
Yeah.
The homeowner stated on a regular year that the old 5-foot wide river would run slow and eventually dry out during the summer months. It will take some time for the water to run through the pipe, seeing that the water levels have dropped since the big storm. We also wanted to use the most amount of flow capacity through the two 42-inch culvert pipes in the event of a future storm. By burying below the flow line, it would cut down on flow capacity. If you have any other concerns, please give me a call. My only concern is from a Army Corps of Engineer perspective. I've reached out to them. I haven't gotten a response back as to their stream brook requirements with an item like this, because if there is fisheries and aquatic life of that nature, it's my understanding that you have to abide by the standards. So
Was that dated February? What date was that?
that correspondence,
No,
so it's like 2 days ago.
Yeah,
I don't
16.
remember what the, yeah.
So we have some issues about long-term impacts from this stream being basically stripped of soil. But the work has been done and we don't have anything else pending, right?
Correct.
In which case, I think we okay the permit as it is and move forward. So I'll move to do that.
I'll second it.
Wait a minute, what was your concern?
Getting a response from the Army Corps of Engineers regarding their standards on streams and aquatic life that needs clear passage and
Yeah.
design standards therein that have to be followed for such a stream bed.
So maybe we should wait until we get their response.
We could do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to, that, what do you think? Give it at least until our next meeting,
Well,
which is
aren't
November,
these
October.
brooks designated for fish or not designated for fish? In other words,
What's its
is
rating?
this stream designated as a fish traveling stream?
Don't have that answer to that, unfortunately.
Well,
I
it
mean, it's,
doesn't-
it's intermittent in
it
its
doesn't
flow. Yeah, and
Well,
it
if
doesn't,
If there's no fish, then what's the problem? If there's fish and we're worried about that aspect of it, then I think I see more of a problem.
Have you seen fish in this, in this brook?
Well, even if it's
Because they do
intermittent.
exist.
yeah, I'm sure they do. Upriver, we saw in the plunge pool,
in
and
other
that sort of thing.
places, yes.
In other places, and I think as a not a temporary, an emergency repair, you know, they did not follow the whatever guidelines. I'm sure they didn't look at that.
Before they did this emergency repair, what was the level of the,
It was the applicant's position that the culverts were placed at the previous water level, I believe.
Yeah, the height of the previous.
So that's what the
water
letter from the contractor said.
Since then, things have obviously been undermined. Why you wouldn't meet the current water level is a bit of a
Well,
head scratcher in
and
my
that may have
opinion.
been different. The current water level may have been higher post-storm. I think it happened like 2
Correct.
days after the storm. They were working on this, right?
However, based on their correspondence, this is how they wanted it, because that's how they designed it.
Yeah, so I mean, that's.
Because they
Wait,
installed
wait,
it weeks ago, not
Yeah.
2 days ago when we did the inspection.
And this is a kind of a reoccurring theme here. We were gonna see this again. I think we had,
Well,
what,
the-
two other ones on Monday?
It's hard
that
to
were the same
undo.
idea?
Of a disconnected system that
Yeah.
wasn't interacting with the
point is that
culvert.
we allowed these people to do this as an emergency.
right,
They're
it's,
looking
and it's
to
hard
get-
to undo what's already
To
been
get
done.
the emergency
And that-
work approved. That's what we're here to take care of.
This one in
Yeah.
particular
Longer term is a different issue.
is two 42-inch concrete pipes. And I don't know how much it costs, probably a bunch of money. And to have them take it out,
Undo,
dig it down
yeah.
some more just to lower it down. And
No, and frankly, as a concern in the field of this conversation, that wasn't even the improvement that we had conceptualized. Like, there's regrading, there's stream channelization, there's up gradient aspects you could alter to get the interaction with the culvert you need in order to make a healthy system. If we're having those discussions, I think it should come under the auspice of this permit, because if you approve this permit today, we have no recourse to have any further conversations. You've approved the permit, it's done. What's done is done, and what's there is there, and you guys gave the okay. We understand that people are under emergency standards, but it should be this commission's goal to have everything done in the proper manner, in whatever way that we can react to help these landowners. We understand that there's a lot of temporary stuff that went in, and it may not have gone in properly, but it's your job to question whether or not it went in properly, and then try and work with the owner as to how we can get things working in a way that's more conducive and more in line with our regulations and the water systems
Since we
that we're
then-
trying to protect.
That's actually well put. Since we do have issues here, apparently, a number of issues,
Well, there's also, and I forgot because I've not looked at a bunch of sites. The upstream portion around the side of her house that got washed out.
Right,
So there's,
different question.
it's a different question, but sort of in the same regard, that something should be done there as well. And that kind of bend where all the water is gonna come around and then eventually go through our culverts if we do have a storm. So I might even be better just to
table it for
table
now.
that one
Yeah,
and come up with some sort of response for her and ask, you know, what,
ask those questions.
ask those questions and see what we can do about that. Cause, you know, not another 11-inch storm, but like a 4 or 5-inch storm, we'd be back in the same place with that culvert.
Okay, then that's not gonna work. Let's table this one and continue to look at it.
Yeah.
Okay. That takes us to application F 2003, 346 Jeremy Swamp, Mr. Marvin Orellana.
This is the one where we've had, he built his wall on the wrong side of the property line,
Oh, God.
right in the wetland.
Yes.
So this one here, we went out and, again, the repair has already been done. The culvert, the original culvert for his driveway, I believe it's concrete, did not move.
Okay.
Everything else around it went downstream more or less. So basically they backfilled it, and did they build that curtain wall up above, ahead of that? No, that was already there. So they basically backfilled it,
That's pretty much it.
yeah.
The nature of the work was just filling in. The
Yeah.
culvert remained in place, the driveway, aside from the material that washed out, was effectively preserved.
Right,
And all that was done was filling in within a water course to reassert access.
Yep.
I see.
Channel is still there the way it was before.
Mhm.
Arguably, the worst part of it was it washed out just downstream of it.
Let's, why don't you move to just approve it?
I'll move to approve, application F 2003, 346 Jeremy Swamp Road.
I'll second. 207 and 209 Bagley.
Yep. So,
Common driveway, culvert washed
one
out.
of them, I think, was an 18-inch pipe, and the other one was 3-foot, maybe 30-inch pipe, something along those lines. And they had the culverts, both culverts were washed downstream. Make it simple. It looks like it was compacted nice. Everything, you know, looked to be well done. In the same respect, we had 2 culvert pipes that didn't really have a lot of water going through them. The bigger of the 2 pipes, the water was right at the level of the pipe. So conceivably, if we had a little bit more water, it would be flowing there. The smaller of the 2 pipes was intended to be an overflow in the beginning, and that's kind of how it is now. They're right next to each other, where they were a little bit further apart, I think, at the beginning. Yeah, I don't really see any other issues with that. They have it stabilized. I think if I remember that correctly, they had seating already on the sides.
Good.
I can't speak to seating. I will just say that this is one of those applications where the temporary and permanent are not lumped together. This
Right.
application is simply looking for approval of the permanent work because the homeowner understands that, or I'm sorry, of the temporary work, because the homeowner understands that permanent work is needed, and that permit and approval will come under a later application when the
Fine, so we
applicant's
approve the
ready.
temporary
And that'll
right
give,
now.
this commission the opportunity to make sure that the installation of the culvert pipe is more conducive with the water level and of a natural flow.
But we can approve the temporary.
Yep, that's what I would
If
say.
you was here to
Suggest-
move, Dan?
I'll move to approve application F 2004, 207, and 209 Bagley Road on a temporary repair purpose.
I'll second.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the next one is F 2005, 1563 Kettletown Road, the Bressons.
You were at this one, Bill?
Yeah, this is, we looked at this. It's not, it's sort of a drainage ditch, sort of a stream, comes all the way down their driveway. The water must have been screaming, it moved huge rocks, really big rocks out of the way, a couple 6, 8 foot deep, almost like plunge pools in the middle of it. They're moving ahead to execute the repairs, gonna bring the rock back in. They have a lot of work to do, they're, over time. They already fixed the driveway, it's already slumping again, they're gonna have to dig that up, and the representative, they're going to do that. That will require a separate permit, which they're all happy to do. These guys worked very hard to make this look decent, obviously are going to take care of it. I really don't think there's anything to complain about what they've done so far, there's just a lot more that needs to be done. The ditch needs to have rock put in it, it needs to be stabilized more. They're planning on doing all of that. I think we can just go ahead and approve what's been done.
Okay. A motion to approve that?
I have a question. What about up at the top where it
Dug that out?
dug that out
Mhm.
like 10 feet deep?
Yeah, they're gonna fill it.
They're gonna fill it. Is that part of this application?
No,
Yes, it is. It's part of the,
Yes,
it will
repaired driveway.
become part of it when they're filling it in and regrading and doing all that stuff.
under the site plan, that area is intended to be rehabilitated.
Yeah.
It's
that
the
whole
drainage
area
ditch,
has to be
retention
redone from
pond,
the top to the bottom.
driveway.
The
That's
current,
everybody
under the
put in.
current application?
Yeah,
Correct.
Okay. So
Yep,
they're
because
gonna fill,
we have a site plan depicting that work coinciding with this
Yeah, but
particular
that's-
application.
so repair the drainage ditch, repair driveway, culvert pipes, and clean out retention pond.
That's all of them.
that's
Yep.
all.
Yep.
And we saw what he's gonna do with all of it, it should be fine.
Okay.
And it has to be done anyway,
Topsoil,
small areas,
okay.
so. I'll second the motion.
Yep.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye. Passed.
Is there anyone representing 1040 or 1042 Purchase Brook Road here in the audience today?
No,
Okay.
nobody? Okay, that's our next one. Common driveway repair. Replace culverts and driveway washed out. I don't know anything about it.
It's unfortunate that neither the owner or Mark Langcor, the engineer for the project, is here. We went out to the site today, myself, Dan, and Michael, and we were not met by anyone on site. Obviously, Dan, Michael, and I saw the extent of the issue. Massive cavern. It's
Yeah.
one of the largest ones I think we've seen, and they need a massive culvert, a massive amount of fill, a massive amount of construction work. It's a large water course that moves through there even at a low hydraulic flow day like today. Essentially, approval to repair common driveway, emergency repairs to replace culvert, approximate wetlands impact is correct. And then, did we get any plans for this one, Sonia? We have no plans for this one. That in lies kind of the issue that this commission will have in issuing an approval. I corresponded with the owners today, just before I came, and informed them of a need for a plan, as well as this commission's clear understanding that they are under an emergency situation and that this commission is ready and willing to react to whatever plan they submit. This may be an instance of, if we don't hear from the applicant, or at the time that we hear from the applicant, we may just need to reconvene for another special meeting, because at this time, you guys don't have plans to approve.
Yeah, we
Well,
don't.
For now, let's,
We don't have a plan, and that's a
Yeah.
big job,
It's a big
Yeah.
job.
so.
okay.
And I'm sure they're working on something, but
Well, yeah, given that they have Mark Lancourt, they have a qualified team ready to submit when this commission is able to get eyes on that plan. It's pretty straightforward. It's everything else that we're dealing with in town, so I don't doubt that we're gonna be able to react. However, it just may need to be a timely scheduling of that, given the desperate need. I think this family is,
Okay.
both families.
So we certainly want to move ahead and get it taken care of. but I
We
don't think
couldn't- we
can
couldn't
do- We can't approve
conceptualize-
anything without plans tonight.
We couldn't conceptualize a way to walk to the houses
Oh, God.
if we
Wow.
wanted to.
yeah.
Let
That's
alone
terrible.
drive or get access for emergency
We
or
didn't wanna go up to the
utilities.
edge of it.
No, we
It's a
stay
fair
far
drop.
back. It's significant,
Okay,
and
so let's table it for now. We can't do anything with it
Yep.
anyway without plans. Application F 2008, 1746 South Britton Road, Tom Mullen, owner and applicant. Whole bridge gone?
Yep,
it's really sad.
and then some.
It's really sad, but
So
Dan,
they
So they're
have,
not done, right?
no, they
they're in the
don't,
same plan situation as the previous one, but Dan was at the site today, so he can.
yeah, they
elaborate.
don't have, I mean, they have, I think Mark's working on this one too, Lane Corps. So they're gonna have some sort of plan. Rocky, one of their potential contractors was out there kinda theorizing how we might do it. However, where the culvert was a, hand-laid culvert.
Arch,
Arch, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I meant.
arch
And
bridge culvert
it literally blew out, an equally sized arch.
next to it.
Next to it, in the force of the water. That is, I don't know what to say.
When
There's
you,
a
when you
big
go
job.
onto the bridge, as I'm standing there looking at the hole, before we get to the area that the water's clearly passing under, it was my assumption
Yeah, that's
that
unbelievable.
the water course went under both these areas.
Yeah.
But unbeknownst to me, the area of water course that I'm looking at, an empty cavern, was previously filled all the way to the
I
top
saw
of
the
the road
pictures.
area, and then you got access to the culvert area. It, like Dan said, it's an equal and cavernous area that was carved out right next to the bridge.
Formerly a road.
Wow.
And it's almost like
really
it
sad.
should be the entire span. It should be limited back to that original culvert, in some way. There are ways to go about making it go there, but it is huge.
So it needs to be really engineered, and it's
Absolutely.
it's
This
gonna
is-
be a big job.
Unfortunately,
Is the
not a.
stream back in the old culvert, or did it make itself a whole new?
It's
stream?
chosen that culvert, but it's
It's
leaching.
flowing through both, as we
Okay.
saw, not
Bleeding
as
through the
much
other one.
through the, where it was
But it's
blown
still
out,
there.
but, and then there's issues upstream of it. There's a little house by, what it was, a dam, I think, at one point.
The dam, yeah. There's
So-
two tiered dams that make up that system. The higher of the two dams is not on the subject property. The lower one is right at the house that, or this little small structure that
Were
Dan's
they
referring to.
damaged?
That, the water was going.
No
around
structures
that.
damaged other than obviously a road and a bridge.
Yeah, and there's issues there.
How do they
too,
get to
but-
their house?
They have a small wooden footbridge to cross, and speaking with the owner, their main issue is getting propane,
I'm sorry, the
there.
main issue's what?
getting propane to the house,
Yeah, you
so
Oh,
they can
boy,
probably
live.
keep propane.
for winter
properly.
coming up.
Winter's come,
Yeah, but you can actually,
Oh,
there are ways, you can.
none of the
you can hook
companies
up
have a
100-pound
hose
bottles and
long
turn
enough.
them over by hand.
Wow.
Yeah, well,
It sucks, but you can.
I was
do it.
on the bridge. I'm not sure you want me
You don't
carrying
wanna
a
be walking on it?
100-pounder across
Okay,
there.
okay.
Yeah, I
anyway,
didn't wanna be on the bridge
It was
a little
with more
shaky.
than one person, like, yeah.
Yeah.
This is another table for us, we
Yep.
can't do anything with it at this point. Boy, I feel so bad for these people.
That
Yeah, me
one,
too.
Okay, F 2009, 113 and 115 Bagley, Ruddy and Vlasic, I think.
Yeah.
is
So-
anyone from this application here today in the audience? Yeah, wonderful. Dan, do you wanna, or give your recap of the site first?
Whichever, would you like to speak on this, or we?
I don't have much to say, I'll just listen.
Okay, that's
Okay.
fine.
If you say
So we
anything.
we were down, went down to this one, and the Sinopoli, I think, was working on this. That's the one I'm thinking
Ah,
of.
that's this one, yeah, yeah,
Yep. So this is another humongous cavern, and an equally large pipe as well.
60-inch pipe, yeah.
Yeah, 60, yeah, you can walk, well, some people can walk through. Yeah, so coming from Bagley, it's a fairly steep, grade going down, and then there's the culvert, and then goes back up to the two houses. And, when we were there, excavator was there, and the, crew doing the work was there, and they had, I think, 3 sections of 60-inch pipe, so it,
A head wall planned
So-
to make that water interaction finalized, so
Right.
its current placement was above the water table. However, when they pour the concrete head wall, that interaction's gonna completely
It will.
change as a result of their modification.
forced the
And
water into it.
so they have a pretty comprehensive plan. The system is adequate or bigger. They
for
couldn't, since the previous pipe was collapsed so much, they couldn't really determine its original.
This sounds like, it has to be a well-engineered, pretty complex system. Is that something we wanna handle on an emergency basis, or do we wanna actually tell them, do what you have to stabilize things now, but we would like to see actual
From an
plans.
engineering perspective, viewing the site at its phase that we were currently observing through construction, I personally have no issue with what's going on.
Yeah, I
There-
don't
I
think,
second that.
They're
From-
bringing up,
Okay, because I
they're-
haven't seen it.
they're
from a
bringing-
standpoint of the other ones we've talked about, this one here is.
none of them have.
Seemed like there was some thought put into it. The water will eventually flow through there. They can't obviously have the head walls in before they backfill.
They have
It
compaction
is,
equipment.
yeah, they're compacted in layers, and they've got it, I mean, it was like less than an inch, to the water line of the inlet of the pipe, so I have no doubt in my mind that water will flow through there and be more than adequate for
Well,
any
especially
kind of
since
critter
they
to
said
get
they were
through
gonna
there.
have cement. It was gonna, so
Yeah.
it wasn't gonna be sitting up and getting undermined, it was.
Right, and
I'll-
it's gonna come out enough so that water that's coming down that, and the reason I said that steep driveway going down will sheet flow off and then eventually make it through the culvert
Meet the
as well.
inlet. And given the extensive work in a tough area to work, they had multiple layers of erosion controls in
Yeah.
place to
Yeah, they were
stabilize
doing it
while
right.
they were working through the job.
I
Given
have
the
no-
emergency management we've been going through, I've not seen one operated so professionally, so I was
Let's
happy to
approve
see
it
it.
then.
Yeah, I think,
We don't wanna slow them down from doing what needs to be done.
nope. I'll
Anything
push-
from the owner?
No,
Okay.
I'm happy to hear, because it was really expensive.
I would
think they'll
imagine
do
it
again.
is.
But they did, they put the rock underneath the culvert, it's all, I have pictures of the progress, if anybody needs to see it.
Okay.
Got it. Thank you.
And I saw they have, chalk marks to do the different layers of erosion, so the different types of material needed.
Yeah, when they compact it,
Well,
they,
that sounds good.
yeah. No,
Okay,
they're doing a
thank you
good
very
job.
much.
I motion to approve application F 2009, 113 and 115 Bagley Road.
I'll second the
Seconded.
motion.
All in
Very good.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Okay, 165 Lee Farm Drive. Dad and I were out there with Mike the other day, and the water came down the hill through a stream. There's a large, how big is that, 24-inch maybe? Plastic pipe to pick the water up, run it around the side of the property, under the road, and eventually down to the lake. That got undermined. It looked to us like the pipe was undermined. It had been moved. Now an area that should have been, let's say, level is 6 inches lower than it should be, so it's not picking up any water. The entire area around where the water would have gone into the pipe has been washed out. Water bypassed the pipe and went down over where the septic system was, and now the septic lines from the house are dangling in the air.
Oh, no.
It's,
Literally
you have,
dangling in the
you have to
air.
really see a picture of this to be able to,
We had to be careful walking around, because if you stepped on the pipe, you're likely to break it.
right.
These things were 2, 3, 4 feet in the air, hanging, going down into what used to be septic fields, which are essentially gone.
Oh, man.
It doesn't look like anything's been done so far. They're gonna have to bring in, they have to move out a lot of rocks, rebuild the septic fields, rebuild the yard, and then prop up the pipe, which is taking the stormwater away. and basically rebuild the entrance of the pipe. The pipe probably should be run further back up the stream bed so that it will continue to function to pick up the normal flow.
This is septic?
That's all septic.
Oh,
And the drain across the street where the stuff is going is also kind of partially collapsed on one side.
Is it? Okay, I didn't see that. And the drain it goes into is also full of sediment.
Did you talk with the applicant?
There was no one there when we were there.
Okay.
No one was there, and
So-
unfortunately, we don't have a plan.
We don't have a
Okay,
plan.
so,
They haven't done anything substantive. I think they cleared out their front yard so they could get a car in there. It's a big pile of stone and dirt. Other than that, nothing's been done. I don't see that we can actually approve anything at this point because we don't have a plan.
I think the plan will ultimately be a simplified one, just obviously filling and reestablishing the drainage that's still in place and existing. I think everything can stay in place and
Yep.
exist. So I'm gonna have to get in touch with the owner and just generate a simple plan, but beyond backfilling what was washed out, there's really not much more work that needs to be done.
And there's no threat to the house at the moment, and they aren't doing anything to deal with it, so this one has to be tabled pending a plan. I agree with Jordan. The work isn't gonna be real hard, it's gonna be clean it up, fill it in, rebuild the septic,
okay.
and probably I don't know how they're gonna do it, but you need to lift up that big plastic pipe, it has to be raised so it'll drain properly. But that's,
I'll figure it
Well, it might have been a visual illusion, so I'm not sure because we didn't really have a level.
we
on
did,
it.
it could be, but they'll take care of it. Okay, application
get a plan.
F 2011,
11 and 12 are
and, okay,
same
614
neighboring
and 602
properties.
Southford Road, adjoining properties.
And this is, so, we met, with a representative, I guess, I don't remember her name, down there to
Amanda,
walk.
I think.
Andrea?
Nah, the niece was Amanda, Amber.
Amanda, either way. And this is where the Larkin Bridle Trail kind of blew out, if you will. It was, I don't know, 60 or 70 feet high, old rail bed in the back portion of the property, that the Larkin Bridle Trail was on top of. The water essentially pooled up on the uphill side of the Larkin Bridle Trail, which was a kind of a ravine going onto the property behind. And eventually it got too much and it washed it right out. So you're talking 75 foot high by 150 foot.
75 feet high?
It was high. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
it's really high.
from the bottom of the ravine where it currently exists, at least that.
You
Oh,
couldn't,
good
you couldn't
Lord.
reach the top from ground
I gotta go
level
look
to
at
the
that.
top
Can't
with
even
a,
conceptualize this unless
large
you go and see it
excavator.
in
You can't
person.
even like walk up this embankment. That's how
Yeah, I always
bad it
wondered
is.
how they built that. So it was mostly just sand.
Sand.
rock and
Well,
sand.
yeah, it was pretty sandy, but, so, either way, it was very big, so when they build rail beds, it tapers out, the batter is, I don't know, it was quite a bit of material, either way. That's what ended up down at Community House, and down that way.
And the
I think that's the way that
The
went.
original channel apparently was totally blocked.
Yeah, so there were culverts that go underneath the Larkin Bridle Trail, obviously not maintained in
adequate.
any way, and
Right.
not adequate certainly for 11-inch storm. It probably got blocked up or was slowed down so much, there was so much water coming in, it like literally pooled up on the uphill side of an embankment and just took it all. And
And it
it's
was-
deposited it over maybe a 5 or 6 acre, more level spot, all the sand, and took everything that was in that area and
Trees,
smashed it
sand,
into the
rocks,
trees
And then
downstream.
smashed into the middle of town.
It was, yeah, took a
Wow.
building, I think, there was a pavilion and a pool. That pavilion got kinda crashed over, the pool's, you can't even tell there's a pool there, it's full of
Wow.
sand. The houses on site were fine, but, so, and, I mean, at the end of the day, we're looking at, an application to get rid of all the trees and debris. And I think it says in there to reestablish the stream bed or where it's gonna be. Right now, it exists
They're
kinda
not
at
gonna
the,
do that.
well, and there, so the problem is, if the state decided to rebuild the bridle trail and put some sort of culvert in there, where would that be? they don't know where to put it. There's
And
no,
that'll come before, we'll hear about that anyway. That's not gonna be something that's gonna get approved off of this.
yeah, so, and I think to that end, Jordan, we talked about, with them on the phone about kind of taking that off of the application. where to
Apologies.
put-
You mean
When you refer to that,
redirecting the water
we're talking,
Yep.
when you refer to that, we're talking about the reinforcing of the stream bank and the.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, stabilization of the stream bank, not setting where it's going to be, but,
Yeah, so movement of the stream has already occurred, in a sense. It used to be a braided floodplain operating in 5 or 6 different small, little channels. It's been confined to one channel through minor sediment movement, and that's pretty much all that's been done. A finalized stabilization plan should be put forth, if the applicant so chose. However, at this time, there's really no plan put forth, and the applicant is looking for coordination with DEP and the state prior to making that ultimate plan.
Is there anything for us to do with this at this point?
So at this
Other
time,
than saying, yes, you can pick the debris up and get rid of it?
what work needed to be done, and we gave emergency approval to conduct, that's why some of it's already operated, and now we want to permit that work, finalize it, is the removal of the boats, building materials, cars, trailers, trucks, everything that got picked up and thrown into
Yeah.
what was wetlands previously and now is probably under 3 or 4
And
feet
will
of fill.
probably never be wetlands again.
So removal of that from that area, the grading and removal of all the sediment that inundated the property. While we were there were multiple construction vehicles that, based on the representation, have been donated, and the time has been donated to kind of manage the property, which is fantastic. Large stockpiles are already existing on the property of sand and gravel. Where those go from this point, it's undetermined. However, the removal is necessary, and something we want to permit with this approval, as well as any dead or nefarious trees as a result of the flow. The only thing that I don't think you have enough information to approve is the stream bank stabilization.
No, we don't have enough to do that.
And
Well, also, do we have enough information to say that it's gonna be able to redirect the water course to its original flow?
Probably
to their
won't.
original location.
As far as that place where it used to come through was way up from where the thing comes through now. I mean,
There's definitely water going through the old
I think
culvert,
there's-
I mean, there's a pond,
there's
ponded
gonna
up
have
there,
to-
so.
there's
Yeah,
gonna
it's
have to-
probably bleeding through, or the water that was trapped there is now trapped.
I mean, personally, I'd feel better if we just said, took that, stream bank stabilization and or redirecting right out of the application. I mean, at this point, I don't think it needs to be done.
No, and
And they have no, like, we're not getting ready to do that, they're not,
and at the time that
planning
whether DEP submits a plan, the applicant submits a plan.
Well, it's also not an emergency issue at this point if they're not planning on doing it now.
No, the emergency nature was the flooding that would potentially occur with a smaller rainfall, given the stream's sinuosity had no definition.
Yeah.
right.
It was
But we
essentially
can
operating in a
approve the
floodplain.
debris removal and all that work, forget relocation to stream bank, because they don't know what the hell's gonna go on with it.
It has been performed in a minor sense, though.
Yeah.
That's fine, approve that. But
There
I
you
wouldn't
go.
go beyond that at this
Yep.
point.
So with
So-
approval with an exception.
Yes.
Yeah, if you guys just want to lay that out, so when I write up the resolution later,
So
it can be
we
clear.
want to lay it out that we approve the debris removal, the stream reconfiguration to the extent that's occurred, the stabilization that's been done, but we're not approving any future activities along that line, except for the continued debris removal, that's
Mhm.
fine.
Yep, makes sense.
I'll make that motion.
I'll motion to approve that, or I'll second it.
You guys want to say anything further?
No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
It's a massive project. The state has to be intimately involved.
Of course.
And so until that gets really sorted out and thought out and financed, I don't think we should be trying to direct this in
No,
a certain way.
part of what we're doing is papering this so that if they have issues with the state, they can say, yes, we got permits, We got things done, we've done everything as best we could.
Right.
Okay, so, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion
We'll ha-
passes.
We'll have to do the
Thank you,
same
Dan.
thing again for application F 2012, because that's the immediate adjacent
Oh, I was doing
property.
both of them.
We can do that?
Yeah, just
We're gonna do
make
both
another,
applications.
make another motion and second, if you don't mind, for the
I'll make the same
record.
motion for application F 2012.
And
I'll
a
second
second,
it.
thank you, Dan.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay. Whew. Where are we?
Yeah, no.
Cease and
Okay,
correct.
cease and correct for 471 Old Poverty Road. This isn't working for me. I don't remember what this is.
It's the trees that came down in the Southbury Land Trust property and our property, the town's property.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Ruggiero is here, representing the Land Trust, if you guys want to
There he
just
is.
get a synopsis from him.
Come on up. Give us your name and position, please.
Joe Ruggiero, the president of the Southbury Land Trust. I wanted to give you an update here, and it pales in comparison to all the other stuff you're dealing with. And we feel blessed that we weren't affected. Anyway. So the story goes that we've met with the landowner last week. The conversation predominantly was surrounding the tree damage. I did, however, give the landowner a copy of the soils report that I believe you folks have. Did you get a copy of the soils report?
Yes,
Did
they
we?
were
I think
handed.
we did.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there was only a very small amount of time spent, I said, well, you also have this inland wetlands thing we'll be having to deal with. So we're just gonna continue to work out the tree issue, and then, there'll be some form of replanting down the line. Don't know what it is yet. The good news is this rainstorm didn't seem to cause any damage over there, which, surprise, surprise. So, so we'll pursue, we'll keep up with this. If we could continue this for a while, that would be very helpful to us. So
We
it's
can
like
do that.
Okay,
I'll move to continue it.
thank you.
Second.
I'll
Donna
second.
seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
You're approved. Thanks, Joe.
I'm abstaining.
You're abstaining?
Abstaining. It's my neighbor.
Oh, okay. So it's approved, and Mr. Burr abstains. You could vote on it, but at least you should call out that it's your neighbor. And you did. So thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, Joe.
Cease and correct, 308 Jeremy Swamp.
This is what we were talking about earlier.
Yep,
Yeah, just move right on to the next.
we've already done it.
I will say, item number 6, any other business, we do have someone in the audience that would like to speak under that item, so when we get there,
That's
just
fine.
provide the time for that.
I don't mind doing that. Anybody have anything to say?
No,
No,
We
we
got
got
it.
other
Okay,
business.
we're done. Aquifer regulations, we're not
we
dealing with
just
that.
jumped. Yep, we're all set
Actually,
with
we're
that.
gonna skip all these, because this isn't a regular meeting.
That's fine.
So we're gonna skip the report, bills and receipts, correspondence, minutes. If there's anything else, we can entertain it now.
Correct, yes.
Right.
I'm saying, is there anybody who has anything?
So this is your opportunity, yep. If you just want to step up, state your name and address, and just kind of speak to the commission about what you're dealing with.
Sure. Michelle Sullivan, 314 Southford Road. So our property and the primary, thank you so much. I have maps as well, if that's helpful.
Yeah.
Lots of
Oh, that's
maps.
great, thank you, that's very helpful.
Try to draw the pictures. So this is a series of maps that escalates to the point of the issue. There's the thing. So my property is in the mudslide zone, so the property you were talking about, Kathy Dibner's, where the bridle trail collapsed, my property sits downstream of that. The primary access to our property was damaged during the flooding and then further damaged during the subsequent mudslide that occurred from when the bridle trail collapsed.
Okay.
As a result, we have a 40-foot wide ravine that's 15 feet deep and covers an area of 30 feet as well. It's about 1,000 cubic yards of material that would need to be replaced. Unfortunately, my property is an interior lot that benefits from access based on an easement over the property that sits at 306 Southford Road. despite trying over the last month to get insights into the repair plan for that property, and for that easement and the access to our home, we have not been able to. We don't have a timeline. We don't have really any insights into what'll happen. We've worked with our neighbor at 302, which is the other half of the driveway that you see there. They use the same access as we do in order to access the property. We've worked with them on plans to have a contractor come in and repair, but unfortunately cannot get consensus from the owner of 306.
So 306 is the property over which you have the easement?
It is. 306 is where my property has an easement. 302 is the other owner of the driveway that runs right along it. All three houses have been utilizing the same driveway over time.
Just before we go any further, can you, for a second, let me ask you, up here, 30, this is where the easement is, up through
Yep.
here.
So this,
This is
This is
302,
the easement right here, I'm gathering?
sorry,
I guess we're
67 is up
trapped
here.
property.
Yep.
This is, oh, I
Yeah,
can't
we
tell
can't
on that
visualize
map. So this map right here is,
Just look at that one, yeah.
This map?
apologies, I don't mean to.
No, that's okay, no, you can't.
But I'm
This is the
intimately
driveway?
familiar, so,
This is the easement?
so this is what the property looks like, 302, 306, 314. And if you look at the driveway, so the only access to the road occurs here with the wetlands coming through here and in front of my property.
Yeah, this is the access.
And this is the wetland she's talking about.
Okay.
This here shows you a nice zoomed-in version of that map. This is the point where the driveway was blown out, 40 feet wide. And as you can see, this is my easement, is over this land that belongs to 306. This is my neighbor at 302, who has been, is equally distressed about the lack of access.
Trapped.
So
This is the actual driveway right here, where you can see that it sits on 302's property as well as 306's property,
Okay,
despite there never being an easement in place here. And so where we've come is the three of us were trying to work together on a solution, but 306 has determined that it is her sole authority on it and will not provide any sort of the plans to repair or timeline for repair,
so, but you have, where's your easement?
right here.
And
306 is this
That's
corner.
314, that's me.
That's
Okay.
This is
314.
306,
Oh, in the middle.
and this is 302.
so you go this way?
We're landlocked, so if you
Well,
look at
except
the,
for the easement.
except for the easement. So this is this is the point we're staring at in the zoomed-in version. This is my property, it's just under 10 acres.
Okay, and your, let me get this straight in my head.
No problem.
Your issue is that the people who own the land over which you have the easement will not cooperate in effecting the repairs. Is
No,
that
it's-
correct?
Or communicate anytime.
This is the house of the
This
folks
is,
that you're talking about.
yes, that's 306.
Okay, so they have access to their house?
They do not. None of any of these properties has access. The only access that exists today, which I left my phone on there, is over a footbridge that was installed on
See if we're going in and out.
this
of
lot
the
right here.
On this corner lot?
So for an entire month, you see this little tiny
Okay,
Yep.
3-foot
that's it.
grate is it. We have 7 horses on the property.
How much,
We can't bring them off.
how much work needs to be done to get the driveway to function?
So, FSM, the contractor who fixed Old George's Road, or North George's Road, excuse me, quoted us $50,000 in repairs. The only numbers that I've heard from her are $100,000 to $120,000
Who's
in
her?
repairs. 306, the owner of the 306.
Okay,
So early stage, she was communicating some information to us and demanding that we pay upfront to her for the repairs, which is not in keeping
well,
with
she
the
can't do
easement.
that.
Yeah, no.
Well, so that's the problem. So then what we did is we, proposed, we got reputable inputs. We proposed between 302 and myself, proposed a plan to restore access. most importantly, because it's timely, my neighbors are both 70, and they had
Young
to.
people.
Yeah. My father is 74, so there's plenty of folks who need access to emergency
Okay.
services on this property. That's why after 10 days, the footbridge was installed. It's not even on our property, it's on this gentleman right here's property.
How old are the people at 306?
Maybe 60,
Just kidding.
50,
But they can't get in
60s.
either.
Nobody can drive in. Right now, the only way is to park here, walk across this gentleman's property, across a footbridge across the stream, get into a vehicle that you leave at the end of this easement, and drive up
So
to
you
your
don't
property.
have oil, you don't have
Oil,
gas, you
no
have
oil.
water,
We have a well.
you have
You
electricity.
still have
It could
power,
be,
yeah.
it could be contaminated, we don't know. We have power thanks to the wonderful folks at Eversource who cut a 18-foot, 60-tree wide thing and strung telephone poles across my front lawn. That's, I don't know, a quarter of a mile off the road.
That was kind, nice of them to do that.
72 hours, they had the power back. We couldn't be more
That's
grateful.
Amazing, yeah.
Okay.
1 a.m. they came through with a feller buncher, like insane experience. But they had our power back very quickly, and we were very, very grateful for that.
Okay, what can we do?
Well,
Because we can't
Emergency.
make them give you
You
money
can't.
or access.
no,
And
but
unfortunately, this is where she's here speaking to you guys today. I've spoken with this owner a number of times and kind of spun our wheels as to how we can react, because it's so mired in the details of the three parties who are inexorably tied to this driveway access.
Your issue, and this is not speaking as the wetlands person, your issue is the easement.
yeah.
You have to look at the easement,
So we
see
did
what the
that.
easement
Yeah,
says.
they've consulted attorneys and
That's where you
the-
go,
the
and
whole
I think
nine.
you're going to
Right.
court.
So we've done
Frankly.
that. But the problem is, in the meantime, we can't have no access to the property. We need emergency access to our property, that you can get a fire truck over, that you can get an ambulance through,
Now,
or
this-
at
this-
minimum, that you can get oil.
Would this
Right.
property owner, if you went in and fixed this, and obviously went to court over this at some
Yeah.
later date, they would stop you from doing so?
Most likely.
I don't think
It
they can
appears so.
stop you. Talk to your attorney,
So that's
but I
what,
frankly don't think they can stop you, because you have an easement that gives you certain rights. And the eased party cannot simply violate their rights because they don't like it.
so
That
that's,
doesn't mean you can make them pay for it.
well, ironically, you can make them pay for it too, according to the
Well,
attorneys, but
yes, eventually, but not
irregardless,
right away.
that's why we have these, I don't care about them paying for it, I just care about getting back. That's why we have these documents that are the deeds on our property, showing the course of how the easement should be handled, which is the property owner at 306 is responsible for making the repairs and then providing receipts, and the property owner that benefits from the easement, myself,
Right.
is responsible for reimbursing on a quarterly basis upon verification of the
Right,
validity of
that
the
makes
charges.
sense.
But that's not happening, and so obviously that's separate and apart. After 30 days, we're now at the stage where we're just seeking whether there's any possibility of an alternate easement, because, our neighbors, who are all well aware of this at this stage, several of them have offered to allow us to go over their property
Okay.
in order to get out. Unfortunately, that touches, as you can tell from my entire front of my property, wetlands. And so what we were asking is that if we were to get an easement from either this lot 8 or this lot 7, and there's a spot on this lot 8 that's, you can see it in this picture of our footbridge. The front 2 acres of our property are, I don't know how you'd say it, I call it the mud flats because of the mudslide. And so in this, you can see the only thing that survived the mudslide is a large rock wall.
It's like a rock, yeah.
It's a huge rock wall that was here for many, many, many years before
That.
anything, before the mudslide. Nothing, the rock wall was not disturbed by the floods, the mudslide,
Okay.
nothing. And there's a space between that rock wall where the stream is running through.
I can see that.
And so my request would be, if we were able to do something on an emergency basis, if we could, with minimal effect to the wetlands, install a pipe of adequate size, 60 inches in diameter, the solution that they have proposed further down from here on the actual easement, so that we can then fill around it, same way our neighbors have in multiple spots to do their repairs, and then use that as access to get out of our property.
And you're gonna get permission from your neighbors to cross their
I
property,
would get
of
an
course.
easement from my neighbor on this lot.
Either
He's already
permanent or
offered it.
temporary, okay.
Correct. And
Yeah,
I
think
mean, I
we
don't
can
see
do
any
that.
reason to hold, we have,
the
we can
repair
still
would
have
look
emergency,
like this. This is the repair that we proposed on our land on our actual easement. This is what our neighbors put in this past week. It's a 60-inch pipe. In the case of where the rock wall is, it would only allow for the one 60-inch diameter pipe, and that would be 3 times the solution as what was in place before the mudslide on our own easement.
I would say,
Yes,
you know,
I'd say yes.
emergency application and get to work. I mean, if you have the,
Title for the easement.
you have to start working on that. You're not gonna get that right away, but
Yeah, so I already spoke with an attorney that's able to write up the easement for us.
Okay.
And, you know, I've spoken to the landowner there, and that would get us out and just around so that, you know, if God forbid something
Well,
happens
you're
to
doing
my
that part,
neighbors.
I think we can tell you, represent you, yes, that's okay with us, it is an emergency, and
sounds like you have a plan.
it's something
Yep.
you have
That's a
to
lot of
do
work.
to get in. And
I appreciate it.
longer term, you have to work with the other people and figure out how that's gonna go, but that's not our issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good, I think we're good, yes?
If we needed to
Yep.
turn that from a temporary easement into a permanent easement,
We don't care.
okay,
Yep,
okay.
the work will be in and,
You're doing the work anyway,
Yeah.
so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Really.
we just didn't wanna do anything on the wetlands that wasn't, permissible. You know, we put in an application ourselves.
Well, to what extent are you crossing
cleanup. It's just
wetlands? Or is it just that?
It
It's
would
just
be-
that little spot
this
on
is,
rock wall.
this is the, hold
But
on,
you
it's
would
not
be
oriented
using
the
the
same as
extent
that.
of the rock wall as your road base?
Yeah. So the rock wall would become the road base. The actual stream goes underneath, I can go back out my phone.
So they're talking about this
And so we
property
wouldn't actually be
here.
installing anything.
It's difficult to
What's-
figure out.
What's the, and Bill,
Yeah, this is zoomed in a little bit more.
So it's actually
This
the
might
elevator.
actually be inaccurate,
Yeah, so
but
it would
effectively plays
actually
out the
be
same
the
situation.
same, roughly
Yeah, but where's the
same
where's the
height as our
crossing
actual
that we're
driveway.
talking
Our
about
driveway
putting
is
this in?
Would that be this property here, the crossing?
So
No,
it's
wait.
right here.
Yeah, look at
So
this one. Just get rid of that guy.
it's right, so where this stream crosses, it's right around here.
Yeah, it's crossing this stream.
And the
That
wetlands are
spot.
back here, that's what I'm trying to find.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's, yeah,
Okay, so you've already got a driveway here, you're gonna go do a short crossing over here to where it's
Yeah.
upland,
Back.
upland again,
yeah,
and
so
then
we
get to
would
the
go,
driveway.
correct,
Yeah,
we go
can
from
do
our
that.
property over here.
What's your address?
And so this is the 314. So I had a survey done also. A gentleman was very, very kind and came in and did us a survey so that we could tell where it is. This is where we're walking down and through the property currently, and that is the little walking bridge. The actual driveway would go, this is me sitting next to it. That's a big tree that is dying because of the storm. It would come out and the pipe.
You're not
would
too
go
far
between
from the
those
walking
two
bridge at this point right now.
It's
Where
right next to
you're
the walking
effectively
bridge.
moving it over, whatever the scale is here.
It doesn't matter,
Yeah,
50
you
feet,
can
100
see,
feet.
it would go right here,
yeah. I don't think that's,
and it's very low impact, you can see
if you're
the
using,
elevation
if
is
you're
already
good,
there.
your road base, driveway base basically is gonna be a pre-existing wall.
Mhm.
You're gonna have to reinforce it, I'm sure, but.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
it's pretty
It's
strong,
a-
it survived that mudslide.
It's a minimal
Like,
crossing.
nothing in its way.
Minimal effect on the wetlands, it's not like you're going through the middle of the active part. I think it's fine. Do it.
So we're going to ask her to submit an application,
Yes.
temporary or emergency rather?
What's the, no, Bill, I'm gonna ask you this, if they went ahead and did the repairs on their driveway
Oh, my
easement,
goodness.
rather than going about all this, cause that's the
Option.
primary access option, what's the recourse that that they have to protect themselves from a legal aspect?
No,
Them?
they
As-
don't.
So if they
Yeah,
clean
they're-
their,
You can get sued.
okay, so they don't have any recourse to put in the driveway?
I didn't say that. I said they can't stop me from suing them. I don't know what the easement says. Some easements will, and some court cases would, I'm not your lawyer.
Oh, I know, you just said,
Um,
I understand.
And this probably doesn't even say
It was
that you
established
have
in
the
the
right to
seventies.
establish, to make repairs.
No, it says that we're responsible for the 50% of the cost, that's the underline, of repairs and maintenance on the driveway. That's all it states.
Yeah,
Are
so
you going
it would have been
to-
nice if it said that you could effect those repairs yourself
It
and then push that cost back to other people. It doesn't say that.
Would the
So I don't
easement
know what the
cross
consequence of that is.
their property in its entirety, or do you plan on jogging
Back to the driveway.
back to the driveway?
It would
where
draw
you-
back to the driveway.
They're basically cutting across this parcel back to
You're
the
just
driveway.
avoiding
Yeah,
this.
so basically you would
ducking
come around here, and actually you can see where we would jog back, cause that's what is, that's what we're using as a walking path currently.
So this
This
property would
piece
would
of
also,
land right here, so this is the standing part of the driveway,
Mhm.
this is that
The house
house right there,
where you would gain access.
and this right here is where you would drive through.
So
It's
we would go around and then back.
Yep.
Okay.
And where does that leave the people in 306?
this,
Just out of
this,
curiosity.
this property would be able,
I guess she would repair the driveway. I mean, I can't grant her the access over this property. She's already been trespassing to do so. But we're not vengeful people, and so if we put it in and she were to benefit from it, we have no problem with that.
You're very nice.
And our neighbor at 302.
yeah, but yeah, it wouldn't be so after
Yeah, I
dealing
don't
Our
with
think
that.
neighbor at 302, they, right now, have been holding up, because they own this strip right here. So the other option to get out would be to repair what is
Her
on
side,
their
yeah.
side.
But
as
because they
Jordan-
own that?
Yes, they own.
Yeah, look at,
Yeah, frontage all the way down.
Yep.
So
Up here.
Well, that would be
Well, how
an
wide?
alternative.
Yeah, May as well just,
it's
Even
22.5 feet wide.
Right, now we're piecemealing the project, it seems.
And so
Ideally,
here
we
is
just
the
do it.
space, you can see the,
Oh, yeah.
surveyed lines, so you can see that the driveway itself actually sits on their property, a significant portion, like.
but still,
it's
in order
like
to make the
50%.
repair, you'd end up,
So either
On
you
somebody
would
else's
have to
property.
put this, you'd have to put the driveway in off to the left side, as you can see here.
I mean, it does
And
seem
just
like a
follow
crossing,
down there.
a crossing on this number 8 property would be probably easier and quicker to get you on and off your property
You
than
would
that.
have to enter here.
This is her property
As to
on this
not-
corner.
as
Yeah,
to
she's gonna
not
cross
She
in
does.
here somewhere.
In here somewhere,
Yep,
traverse the property until we get on the other side of the break.
Brook.
Yeah, it's basically right, if you went towards that road, or rock wall is right here on that property, so it would stay on my property and go directly to his,
And then jog back.
and then it would jog back
Beyond the break.
the normally easy,
Beyond the
beyond the
Yeah,
break.
that's probably the easiest way to do it.
The other option
doesn't
is
help
to
these
go
people.
out this way, but that's much longer. You'd have to get this property owner, and these people have already said we can
Lot more
use their
coordination.
driveway.
Boy. Anyway, I think we're okay.
Yep, I would agree.
So what do you guys want as far as the plans, so when the applicant comes in, we can expedite this as quickly as possible to get
Please.
them access?
Well, we need an actual plan.
Application, emergency application, plan of,
Which you already know about.
well,
Yeah.
the
I
build,
already
Yep.
got
the
that.
build out, right?
and then whatever, you know, whatever details you do have of what you're gonna put in and where you're gonna put it
Yeah.
and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that we need a,
We
you know,
don't
an
need
engineered
an
plan, but
engineered plan.
let's, yeah, get something
Yeah,
going
we've
as quick as
already
you
already
can.
met with the gentleman from FSM, and he, was talking about the appropriate, what do they call them, little fences that you put in to make sure that
Sill
there's no
fence.
sill
Yep.
that goes down
Yeah,
the.
we'd like to hear that. We want to know how big the new drive is gonna be,
Culvert size and all
approximate
that.
location, and that stuff. They'll know what to do.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah, you're good.
I have
You're
all
good
of
with
that
us.
detail together.
And just be clear on whether or not it's temporary or permanent, because the easements will cover that, and then their restrictions and the engineering that goes into it is gonna be different on their end as well, from a temporary to a permanent side of things. So
Okay.
figure out exactly where that's gonna land, and it
Okay,
sounds like
thank you
they're-
so much
they're
for your
willing
time.
Yeah, no
Well, you're
problem.
quite welcome. Good luck.
Good luck.
Appreciate it.
God, what a mess.
I'm paying it all myself for.
Alright,
Why won't they let
one
them
last
fix
thing,
Maybe they don't wanna pay for it.
we missed one, we have an applicant here for one of the original agenda items.
Oh, okay.
Up at the top, that would like to speak.
George's Hill?
Yep, 2006.
Sure. Mr. Handelman? Hi, sorry, I didn't know you were here.
I think I came in a little late, I didn't know what room. So, you guys approved the application?
Just state your name and your
Oh,
address. for
I'm
your
sorry,
address.
Ken Handelman, 1674 Georges Hill Road, Southbury. And just, you approved the application with,
We haven't approved it
you haven't,
yet.
okay, I'm sorry.
If you could present what you wanna do to us, tell us what
we-
happened,
we-
and how you wanna fix it.
Basically, the water course took out my bridges, took out George's Hill, as you know, it's not gonna be repaired there, that's gonna be a long wait. So I got the state to put back the top of my driveway, I got them to pave a little apron and do a little bit of stuff. And I cleaned out my garage, took that stuff out and restored it, but we have a lot of down trees over the water course, and we want to get in there and take them out. One of them took a huge root ball out, probably the size of both of these tables combined. And I want to cut it and let it fall back to reconstitute part of that stream bank. But it's a total bloody mess in there. And we just want to take down some of the trees. I had a cut put in by the construction crew so I can get to my lower field now, because I can't get to my lower field, because when that washed out downstream, that took my lower driveway access. So I've lost a ton of property as a result of it. Right now, I just want to cut some stuff, but down the road, and I'm sure it's not with this body, the state's gonna have to fix my property, because they didn't manage the water. I got a really good history of being told that I'm gonna get culvert extensions, I'm gonna get modifications to where the stream comes back and forth over the property. And water's not a problem for anybody until it becomes a problem. Now it's a problem for the state. And they're gonna re-engineer the road. I told them, I'm gonna take care of what I can on my property. I'm not gonna do any designing, reconstituting, or anything like that till I see what you propose. I said, but do not give me what looks like something that's a blow-off stream from the Hoover Dam. I said, as it is now, that's not gonna cut it. I've lost a ton of real estate. I've lost real estate downstream where the two streams meet. I said, I'm not gonna sit here and just let you do a quick job that's engineeringly sound, but aesthetically a disaster. It's just not
Good
gonna
luck.
happen. Well,
Because we would agree with you.
well, I'm probably gonna end up having to retain, because it's just gonna be a fight, and we've been there a long time, and as I told the state, I said, I own a quarter-mile of road. I said, you've logged on my property, I said, you've cut trees down on my property, I have authorization to maintain the road, we've always given the state the benefit. I said, we've been here, the reason you have that mention on your bunt camp is because my grandfather was the first Jew in Southbury. He caught wind of it, and that was that. So we've got a long, interesting history in Southbury, and we love this town. We're probably gonna donate to get your library back up. But this time around, someone's gonna fix my water course. We didn't do anything wrong. I manage everything. I have a custom hydro swale on top of my big stream that I put in from the tornado when I cut a new road. It falls into my pond in a perfect sheet runoff. Perfect. I can manage my water, the state's gonna manage their water. So, are you guys gonna eventually come out and look at the property? Is that what it is?
Yep.
You schedule it?
We are.
Cool. I appreciate all your time, everyone. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Thank you for coming in. Okay, site visit.
Yeah, we got that
Yeah.
scheduled already, or on the agenda.
Anything else? Anybody else have anything? All right, I'm gonna move to adjourn then.
seconds.
Donna wants to stay, is that what
No,
you said?
no, no.
No, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Motion is passed, we will adjourn. Wasn't too bad, actually. It is cocktail.
Not for me.
Conceptualize each one of those places.
I know, it's not easy. I'm just trying this, young lady, trying to figure out what she was doing, and it turned my brain upside down. Good in the works.